Hey, boss. Hello. Hey, Alicia. Happy Sunday. What up, Kay? Happy Sunday. Boss, go ahead and grab your water. If you're gonna chill, hey Wanda. If you're gonna chill out with us for a little bit, go ahead and grab your water. Happy Sunday. What up, T? Hello. Happy Sunday. Hey, Marquito. Rachel. Mika. The only thing you're missing is whether or not you're new or if you're an OG around here. But I love that you got started. Mika said, "It's Mika from Texas." Let them know. Mm-hmm. Kita, grab your water, boss. Please. Please. Hello. We're going to give 3 more minutes and then we'll get started. Hey, Lou. Happy Sunday. We're back on this, girls. We're back on this. We're back on this. Oh my gosh. What up, E? Hey, boss. In a few, we're going to introduce ourselves. We'll get ready, and then we'll get into tonight's topic. Everyone knows what we're talking about. Yes, we're talking about trending topics. I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm good. How are you? We're talking trending topics, trending styles for 2026. Who it's for, who should stay away from certain things. Some things are a few that I've found interesting. We'll be talking about today. But I'm excited. I'm excited to help set you up for a successful, healthy hair journey in 2026. I think that this conversation is going to be helpful in you being able to figure out how to stay, how to stay new and fabulous and still maintain the health of your hair. Lou, in a minute, we're gonna ask everybody to introduce themselves. But for now, if you haven't already, please go and get Marquita, you got your water. For now, no, Lou, tell me. For now, if you don't have your water, please go and grab your water, boss. If you do not have your water, please go and grab your water. My hope is that we all finish ours either before the end or at least at the end of tonight's conversation. I'm going to try to keep us under an hour. Kitty, you think I could do it? You think I could do it? I'm going to try and keep this. I'm going to try and keep tonight's class under an hour. I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be all right. It ain't but a couple of things that really interest me. I do now. I thank you. Marquita, I'm giving you a round of applause because I'm proud of you. Kita does not love the taste of water, and so she fights me a little bit on it. So anytime she complies, I'm grateful. It's a win. It's a win. Hey, boss. Good evening. Y'all got another minute to grab your water. Then we'll introduce ourselves and we'll get started with class. Oh yeah, I did see that. The woman who she actually, the stylist who she actually asked the client, well, not asked the client to leave, but essentially because the client wasn't ready to big chop or cut all that needed to be cut off, the stylist pretty much told her that she could go on about her business. Is that who we're talking about? Hey, Linda. Hey, Ray. Happy Sunday. Okay. For anyone who does not know, good evening. My name is Ebony K. I'm the owner of Texture Press, and what I do is help women build their confidence by giving them easy, tangible ways to be successful on their healthy hair journey. That's my thing. I'm known for it. And I will say I'm glad, grateful that you're here. So before we get started on tonight's topic, a couple of things. First, can you do me a favor, please? Can you let the girls know, let the ladies know your name, where you're from, and if you're new or if you're an OG. V, don't start. B, don't start. B, B, don't start. We're gonna try to keep this under an hour. V, let the girls know your name, where you're from, and if you're new or if you're an OG. Tell the girls. What up, Rochelle? Tell the girls your name, where you're from, and if you're new or if you're an OG around here. Mika's already in here. Alicia's in here. Alicia, we can have a conversation about that. I feel differently than probably many people. I feel very differently from many people. So we can talk about it. Just make sure you remind me before we wrap up class. Um, if anyone cares about my thoughts or opinions, hey boss, if anyone cares about my thoughts or opinions on the stylist and that conversation that they were having, we can talk about it. I just want to get through class first. Hey, Alicia from Detroit. Tell the girls if you're new or if you're an OG, Alicia. Nikki, tell the girls if you're new or if you're an OG around here. Hey, boss. Alicia always do this. I'm not new, but I'm not an OG either. Girl, if you've been rocking with us for less than a year, you're new. You know, you're new. Okay, so I have questions. Hey, Keita from New York and an OG. I love the new girls, but I really, really appreciate my OGs. You know, I love the new girls, but I really appreciate my OGs. They've been rocking with me for a long time. And Marquita could probably tell you. Marquita could probably tell you exactly how I would have responded. The OGs could tell you exactly how I would have responded. Hey, Lene. You ain't got to be on the lives for more than a year. You know what I'm saying? If you hit that follow button more than a year ago, you OG. You know what I mean? If you hit that follow button more than a year ago, you OG. Okay, so I have a question. Okay, so what is this? 2026? All right. So maybe 10. Okay, so this was 2016. No, okay, so maybe not 10 years ago. Maybe 8 years ago, right? Come on, OG. I'll say 8, maybe 9 years ago. Do you guys remember the greenhouse effect that was a really popular trend in the natural hair community? Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember the greenhouse effect that everybody was doing? If you remember, put your hand up. Do you remember that, Kita? Do you remember that, Kay? The greenhouse effect that was really popular amongst naturals? V, you remember? All right. So, Nikki, do me a favor. Can you explain to the girls what that was? You remember what that was? Okay, can you explain to the girls what it was? Rachel, can you explain to the girls what it was? What the greenhouse effect when it came was when it came to natural hair? Here's how I remember it. So the greenhouse effect was in an effort to help naturals, right? Around that time, a lot of us were just transitioning, excuse me, from relaxer, right? Going natural. And the greenhouse effect was in an effort to help us retain more moisture, right? More softness, right? And so what you did was you would wet your hair at night and sleep with a shower cap or a plastic bag. And essentially the point was, you would wake up the next day and your hair would be super soft and moisturized, but you did this every day for a while, right? You wet your hair every day and slept with it overnight for a while. That was a really big trend. Can anybody tell me, can anybody tell me just one, just one negative that would have been for following that trend? Hey, boss. Hey, Tamika. Can anybody tell me one reason we should not have followed that trend? The greenhouse, the greenhouse trend. A technique where you moisturize hair by trapping scalp heat and moisture underneath a plastic cap overnight. Nikki, okay. Rachel, Rachel, let me tell you, it wasn't even doing that. Scalp problems, yes, but that last piece, it wasn't even doing that. Mushy hair, right? Marquita, girl, Tamika, thank you. That's interesting. That didn't cause mildew or sour, funky hair. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Okay. And so this is proving that not all trends are for everyone, right? The greenhouse trend, it's actually that one in particular for no one. I can't see a benefit in doing that whatsoever. Not that long ago, there was a trend to put onion in your hair in an effort to get it to grow. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that being a trend? Putting onion juice, juicing onions, not just one onion, but juicing onions and putting that in your hair only happened once at Textured Press. You know, y'all thought that stylist was rude. Okay, right? The one that said we got to figure out, a different approach to this trim situation. Imagine, imagine your second client of the day hopped on the trend where you put onion juice in your hair, right? And now I got 4 more clients to see for the rest of the day, and this whole situation is smelling like onions. Oh, yeah, not our favorite moment. You know what I mean? In terms of hair trends. Greenhouse effect, the onion juice trend. And then, the one we're seeing a whole lot now. I'm surprised that this trend has lasted this long, but I will say, I'll say a couple of things. So this trend in particular, I think is going to keep stylists, texture press in particular, but I think that this trend in particular is going to be the thing that keeps stylists in business, healthy hair care professionals, not stylists. This trend is going to keep healthy hair care professionals in business for a really long time. Who can guess what it is? This particular trend is causing damage to hair now, and the girls are not really going to be seeing it. Okay, the girls are really not going to be seeing it for a while. Co-washing was not just a trend. Co-washing still happens. Excuse me. Co-washing still happens. Well, who can think of a trend that's going on right now that over the course of the next few years is going to keep healthy hair care professionals in particular in business? Rachel says wigs. Anybody else? Nikki, is your answer co-washing? Anybody else? No other guesses? braids, bleach, frontal wigs, frontal wigs. The young girls, right? The teenage girls, um, the young women who are still keeping frontal wigs heavy in rotation, but A, are not applying them correctly, B, not uninstalling them correctly, are going to keep healthy hair care professionals in heavy. We're going to be in business is going to be booming as these young girls transition into adults, right? And the hairline has become compromised. Okay, the application of glue on the hairline daily, the application of holding spray on the hairline daily is going to keep us heavy in business. Okay, heavy in business, and I'm here for it. One of the boss ladies, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, asked me, did I think that silk presses, uh, that women were going to like step away from silk presses and lean more into relaxers. And I have seen a slight uptick in relaxers. And while maybe silk presses do take a back seat for a little while, eventually what's going to be happening is, even if you are a master of silk presses now, even if you are a master of braids now, even if you are a master of wig making now, what's always going to be in high demand is healthy hair. Okay. So let's talk about some trends that are going to be going on now. We'll talk about who it's for, so that this way you can decide as we move into 2026 and we see some of the things in magazines, on TV screens, a lot on our social media pages. The more we see them, we'll be able to identify whether or not this is really something that we can like kind of play into. And if we do decide to indulge in one of or some of the trends that are projected to be popular for 2026, how can we make sure that our hair is still at its optimal health while we lean into some of these trends if we want to have a little bit of fun, and play with what's popular for 2026. Okay, so here is one of the more interesting trends for 2026 is going to be hair accessories. We saw an uptick in hair accessories about 2 years ago when headbands were back in style and nice big barrettes were back in style. They're coming back. Okay, headbands, bejeweled or bedazzled hair pieces, barrettes, bows, headbands are all coming back. And one of the things that I love about these kinds of things is they can absolutely elevate your style. It can elevate your look. Bobby pins that have pearls on the ends of them, bobby pins that have gems or jewels on them can 100% elevate. Once, you slick back one side of your hair. Let's say you're rocking a silk press for a little while, and maybe one side is a little bit straighter than the other, or one side has a little bit more bounce or curl than the other. Slicking one side back and just using a jeweled bobby pin or a jeweled barrette on just one side really can take the look from ordinary to something that looks a lot more elegant, or maybe even a little bit more sleek or a little bit more fun, right? So hair barrettes are going to be a big thing for 2026. When you are when you are thinking about because I'm not too keen on pulled back ponytails, right? If we want to make sure that we're avoiding a ton of breakage and having to do the opposite of length retention, you want to stay away from ponytails. But if you're looking for like claw clips, right, or barrettes to pin your hair up, you might want to consider one that's got a little zhuzh to it. Okay, got a little accent piece there. One of the reasons why I like the idea of a claw clip over a scrunchie is we avoid that kind of tension, right? But it also makes for a really pretty can make for a really pretty hair piece. So that's one of the things that's going to be trending in 2026 when it comes to hair. The next thing is probably my favorite. I've been seeing this fade out a little bit, but I'm excited to see it come back. Girl, The side bangs are coming back. The side bangs, hey Miss Barksdale, the side bangs are coming back, and that makes me really, really excited. I love a little bit of hair drama. One of my favorite things to do, yes, a middle part is cute, but one of my favorite things to do, a nice deep side part, curled up, feathered a little bit in that bang. You know what I'm talking about, Alicia? Feathered a little bit in that bang, Lulu. I go to comb that hair back and then push it forward with that little side bang. Love it. Okay. Side bangs are going to be heavy in rotation and a big trend for 2026. Here's another thing that I love about side bangs, especially professionally. When clients are, especially when we talk about trends, right? When a client wants to lean into a trend, be it a cut, color, or things of that nature, things that that are more permanent than just like a barrette, or more permanent than like an updo style or something like that. Bangs and color, bangs in particular, when we talk about bangs, it really makes me nervous, because they're so much more permanent than a barrette or an updo. Even color you can gloss over. Them bangs, we really got to work to get them bangs to mask them. Hey Gloria, we really have to work to like mask a bang, or add a couple of tracks or a couple of pieces in to go from short to long, especially if someone doesn't love bangs, right? So a side bang makes it easier for you to mask. A side bang makes it easier for you to still do middle parts. But when you ask your stylist to do a straight down bang, it's really hard to mask that. So if you are looking to, just if you're tired of your style, you want to switch your style up just a little bit, ask your stylist to cut in some side bangs, because again, it does make it easier for you to still do your middle parts. It does make it a lot easier even for you to transition to the other side, right? We know that we're not supposed to be sticking to one side for too long. Yes? You stick to a middle part, you stick to a side part for too long, then what happens? Tamika, I know you know this. I know you've seen this in clients. Alicia, I know you've seen this in clients. Lou, I know you've seen this in clients as well. If somebody is, if any one of us, but be it a client or you personally, is doing too much center part, too much of a side part, too often, what is likely to happen? Lou always got to be extreme. Gloria, when you say it gets stuck, tell me more about what that means. What do you mean it gets stuck? There we go, Melisha. There we go. And here's one of the reasons, okay? Melisha, Gloria, Lou, Tamika, do me a favor. On the back of your hand, Lou always got to take it there. Do me a favor. On the back of your hand, take your fingernail and do like this. We're all going to do it together. We ready? Like your hair reverts to that part. Oh, I can see what you're saying. Your hair just falls that way, right? If it's a side part, you can tell because the hair just falls that way. If you're consistently doing a middle part, you can tell because it just falls that way. Okay, I can see that, Gloria. Gloria, do me a favor. Ladies, do me a favor. You're gonna take the back of your hand and you're gonna run your nail up the back of your hair. We're gonna do it all together. We ready? All right, let's go. Uh-huh. Eventually, what do you think will happen? You keep running your comb, right? Your fingernail is the tail of your comb. You keep running your comb up against your scalp like you're doing the back of your hand. It's finna hurt, ain't it? It's gonna scar, ain't it? It's gonna bruise, ain't it? The skin there is gonna be weak, ain't it? Right. And so that's going to be one of the benefits of making sure that you switch your part, so that constant rubbing, that constant friction, that constant tension in that one area doesn't cause scarring, balding, or thinning, right? And so again, doing a side part, one that has a little bit more length in it, doing a side bang, excuse me, doing a side bang that has a little bit more length in it allows for you to 100%, Nikki, tendernism. Now let me stop. Tenderness, yes. Doing a side bang, one that is a little bit longer, definitely leaves room, excuse me, for you to be able to switch your part. Okay. That's my favorite. I love me a side bang and a soft bang, one that's not like too heavy. It ain't too much hair in the front. I can get with that. Okay. Less commitment than doing full on straight bangs, straight down bangs. And if you can get away with a curtain bang, right? If you can do like a longer bang, one that just sweeps over your eyelashes or just sweeps just under your eyebrow, that's a really good length to stop at. I tried that with a wrap, like going the opposite way. Lord, I had a headache for it. Uh, mm, I can see, I can see why you would have a headache, and it's because you're going against what you typically do, right? So Gloria said, excuse me, I tried that with a wrap, like going the opposite way, right? So you're let's say Gloria consistently wraps her hair to the right. I'm assuming, Gloria, right? You're saying you started wrapping your hair to the left. One of the reasons why that is because your hair is not used to you alternating. You have to get it used to alternating, right? I was thinking tendonism. But that's one of the reasons, Gloria, why it hurt to wrap it the other way, because you're consistently doing it the one way. Hair has memory. There we go, Alicia. Hair has memory. If you train it to do one thing, it's going to do that, but you have to start training it to do another thing if you want to be able to switch it up. Okay. Okay. Next up on the 2026 hair trends, what did we see Beyonce do? She just dropped it yesterday. What did we see Miss Giselle Knowles Carter do? The girls see it. We talked about it in IG stories earlier today. Your hair was angry. I'm sure it was, Gloria. What did we see? What did we see Miss Giselle Knowles Carter do? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But not just a bob, Juanita. Right? That bob has some layering in it. Excuse me. That bob has some layering in it. So layered bobs are going to be a trend for 2026. Okay. Who are bobs for? Who are bobs for? Girls that have time, right? Because what do we know about shorter hair? Tamika, Miss Barksdale, what do we know about shorter hair? There we go, Alicia. It requires more maintenance. It requires more work. So if you want to hop on the trend, if you want to lean into that bob, let's talk about a couple of things. First, you 100% have to understand that shorter hair requires more work. You cannot hide behind ponytails when you go that short, when you do that kind of bob. I told you guys last year that chiseled chin length bob, excuse me, was going to be a trend for 2026. I told y'all that last year, right? That kind of short length, right? Hitting just at your chin, hitting just up underneath your chin is going to mean that you cannot hide behind a ponytail. It's going to be real hard to get that hair up into a claw clip. Okay, layered bobs are also make your hair look really full. Excuse me. Depending on how it's layered, it can make your hair look really full, right? It can make your hair look really heavy. So if you are the type who feels like her hair is already thick, you may want to consider how your bob is layered. Okay. You may want to consider how your bob is cut, because depending on how it's layered, it can 100% give your hair more fullness, which means that for some girls who have hair that is on the finer side but isn't really dense, for those girls who even maybe have coarse hair but they feel like their hair is thin, A layered bob might be exactly what you're looking for to give you the illusion of hair that is fuller. Okay. When we're talking about bobs, that also means usually, right? That also means you ain't gonna have that hair on your neck. Okay. So if you want to do it in the winter, be mindful that you're not going to have that covering on your neck. And it wasn't it minus 2 degrees a couple weeks ago. Just some things to think about and consider when we're hopping on, when we're leaning more into a trend. Okay. So you want to do a bob. Here's something I would consider if I were you. What will we do for working out? It ain't easy. It's again, because you can't, you can wrap it, sure, right? But if you're a real head sweater, if you're heavy into cardio, that's gonna work against you. It could work against you. Excuse me. I'll tell you one of my favorite ways to do a bob, but it could work against you. Hey, boss. Dang, what was I saying about the bob? What was I saying? Leaning into the bob. And this is exactly why I shouldn't have looked over there and tried to answer at the same time. I was in the middle of saying something good too. Dang, what was I saying? Okay. Can't get into it. Anyway, if you do decide that is something that you want to lean into, just be mindful of the fact that it's probably best for you to lean into a bob. This is what I was going to say. It's probably best for you to lean into a bob come springtime. Okay, so we're approaching, right? As the weather starts to warm up a little bit, leaning into spring. Here's why I usually suggest clients do their bobs, do their shorter cuts in the springtime, right? If we're too late for winter, if we're too early, for winter, do it in the spring. Here's why. If you do your bob in the spring, you can still get away with a couple more silk presses before it gets really hot, right? What I really love about bobs is it also allows for more definition in your curl. It's going to give you more height, more volume in your curl if you decide to do more twist outs, braid outs, and or wash and goes in the summer, right? Usually end of spring into summer is when we're doing a lot more of those more natural styles. And so that's going to be really helpful, right? Also, here's what you want to consider. If you do a bob in the spring, if you monitor or pay attention to how quickly or slowly your hair grows, that allows you to also gauge if you're going to be going into braids. If you are heavier into braids in the summer months, then you want to be able to gauge, okay, maybe at the top of spring is when you do your bob cut, because if you know that you want braids in the summer, you want your braider to have a little bit more length, especially in the back. If you're going to be doing layered bobs, especially in the back, you want your braider to have a little bit more length so that he or she can grip in the back while you're doing your braids and your braids are not slipping out, and then you feel as though you've wasted your money because you have to redo this particular style. Okay. Yes, Chrissy, I was talking about no hair on the neck for winter. Yes. But that's my suggestion typically. Okay. Either do your bob in the spring or do your bob in the fall. Okay. Cutting your hair that short in the summertime, I think it just needs you. I think there's a lot of sacrificing that has to happen if you choose to go that short in the summertime. But that's me, right? Also, again, bobs, shorter hair is more expensive. And so those are just some of the things that if I were you, I would think about and consider before we sit in someone's chair and tell them you want the Beyonce 2026 bob, right? But before you tell them you want the Giselle Knowles Carter 2026 cut, just some things to consider and think about. Okay. Bobs, layered bobs in particular, are going to be another trend, are going to be heavy in rotation for 2026. Excuse me. What you could also do, Alicia, you can get you a wig. You know what I mean? You can get you, that's another alternative. It doesn't have to be as expensive. You get to keep your unit for significantly longer. You're not sacrificing and cutting your natural hair. And then you also get to switch it up, right? If you decide one day the bob look just is not for you, you know what I mean? It's a little too much wind back there. You know what I'm saying? It was just a unit, it was a temporary fix anyway. Of course, you could either do a wig or a unit, or you could just do a sew-in. But if you would like the look, if you want to lean into the trend, if you want to test and play with the trend, but you're not ready to cut your natural hair, I would suggest a wig, unit, or a sew-in. I would 100% do that. Or y'all know I'm an advocate for clip-ins. You could braid your natural hair up. If you have a nice set of clip-ins, you could braid your natural hair up, do one or two full sets of clip-ins, and cut up your clip-ins for a bob. I personally love a bob styled with beach waves. You know what I mean? Any of y'all get to doing that? Just tag me in the pictures because I love to see it. Love to see it. One of the other things one of the other styles, excuse me, that are going to be trending for 2026, structured ponytails. Okay. I think this is going to be really big I haven't seen it. I haven't seen pictures or videos of it yet this fashion week, but I think 2026 is September or fall, excuse me, fashion week. I think we're going to see a lot more structured ponytails. Structured ponytails look like ponytails that maybe like are twisted and look like a piece of art, are twisted or maybe braided, excuse me, braided, and the way that it is pinned up looks like a piece of art. Those are going to be really trendy, excuse me, for 2026. So if you are a guest in a wedding, a structured ponytail, again, that looks, like a piece of art, is going to be a huge trend, excuse me, for 2026. That is going to be another big trending style this year. This last one that we're talking about, I think should be reserved for the much younger girls. Let me see if I can actually find a picture of it. I think should be reserved for the much younger girls, but I'll and if I can find a picture, you'll see why. Sorry. Are any of these things something that you feel like you'll be leaning into this year? Be it the bob or more bejeweled or gym designed barrettes or hair pieces. Whew. Layered bobs, bedazzled or bejeweled hair pieces, side bangs. Are we going to be leaning into? One of the other things that I saw that's going to be trending for 2026 is we're going darker, not lighter. So we're leaning more into being brunettes and not blondes. I don't know that I love that idea because I love a Savannah James blonde girl. I love that ashy blonde. I don't know if I love the idea of that, but y'all tell me what y'all thinking about in terms of color. I hate this look so bad. I'm going to show you a picture. Yes, a wig. Okay, I think that would be really helpful and a lending hand to us transitioning out some of the straighter pieces that we've been concerned about. Nobody else? Nobody's interested in those in what they're projecting, excuse me, to be trending for 2026? Okay. No? Okay, what they're also projecting for 2026 in terms of hair trends is a disconnected bang. I hate this look so bad. This is what a disconnected bang looks like. Let me see if I can. This is what a disconnected bang looks like. Do you see how it's disconnected, how it doesn't flow into the rest of the length of her hair? This is what a disconnected bang looks like. That's a curly one. Here, let me see if I can find another one. And this is usually what it looks like, kind of straight. I just like it both ways, honestly. This is what a disconnected bang looks like. Do you see how it's not connected? How it doesn't flow? How it doesn't? How it's not like um, connected to the majority of her length. This is another version or another example, excuse me, of a disconnected bang. Can y'all see that on Facebook or YouTube? Let me see if I turn my light down. Is that better? Can you see that better? This is what a disconnected bang looks like, which is why I'm not a fan. I think it's going to be heavy in like the younger girls. So if you have children, young daughters, or even young boys who like to wear their hair longer, that disconnected bang is going to be heavy in rotation. I just think, the grow out phase, the idea of it being significantly short in one area, in the front in particular, significantly short in the front, and being disconnected from the rest is not a look that I love per se. And I don't serve a lot of like teenage girls, but if you have teenagers and this is what they're seeing trending out there, just be ready to have that conversation. I like the bejeweled accessories idea. I'm currently tucking one or both sides behind my ears, then having hot flashes. So pinning back would be an appealing relief, 100%. And it looks intentional, right, Nikki? It looks like you did it on purpose. It looks like that's what you wanted it to look like. It looks like, you did it on purpose. But I love a bejeweled barrette and bobby pin and claw clip. Whenever I see a really heavy jeweled or heavy decorated barrette, I'm always in awe. I think it's really pretty, and again, I think it elevates just about any style. So this is just some of the trending styles for 2026. I'm glad that some of the trends that we were heavy into that were causing more damage than good, it seems like we're leaning out of. I will say the structured ponytail does make me a little bit nervous, and then so does the layered bob for some. And the layered bob only makes me nervous really because if you want to lean into the trend and you risk cutting your own hair, I do think that it becomes a lot more difficult. It becomes a lot more challenging to manage if your stylist has not trained you how to maintain your hair on your own. If you don't know how to do your own silk press, you're kind of like, at the mercy of your stylist. Hey, boss. You're kind of at the mercy of your stylist, and so it can become more and more expensive. Excuse me. So just as a stylist, thinking about having some of those conversations as a healthy hair care professional, especially if for any of us who work behind the chair on this live, really having in-depth conversations and giving your client the pros and the cons of doing any one particular style or leaning into one particular trend. Giving them the pros and cons is going to be really helpful, both to the client, but also to yourself, right? Especially if it's someone that you are seeing, if it's a client that you're seeing consistently, giving them the pros and cons, pairing a trend with their lifestyle is going to be really important. Tamika said earlier when we were talking about the bobs and getting in the gym, right? If you have a client who is heavy in the gym, going that short on their natural hair might not be the best option for them, right? So giving them other options, i.e. give a sew-in, i.e. wearing a unit, or again doing the clip-ins and then cutting the clip-in hair up, that might be more conducive to them being able to lend into that trend. If you have a client who wants to be blonde, right? Who wants to like mirror Beyonce's exact bob look that she just posted recently, and they're not the best at maintaining or managing healthy hair, you might be in a better position to offer a wig, clip-ins, a sew-in, right, as an alternative, so that they don't feel left out. They don't feel like they're not able to hop on a trend, but they're still maintaining the health of their hair. Excuse me. Those are some of the things that, just again, as a professional, I would be thinking to do with my clients as they come in to us seeing what's popular, seeing what's trending, and then wanting to emulate some of those looks for themselves. Where in any world does the glue sound safe on your hairline that's already fragile? Well, Tamika, here's the thing, right? The challenge is that we're not having enough professionals are not having enough conversation about the risk of clogging your follicles daily, right? And so to someone, let's say we'll Nikki, I'm just using you as an example, but let's say Nikki, we'll take Nikki as an example, right? Nikki is none the wiser. She all she knows, and especially again, this trend is more the frontal trend is more for the much younger girls, right? I don't see a lot of older women, and I could just not be looking in the right places, but I don't see a lot of older women doing a lot of frontals, right? Or at the very least, I don't see a lot of them putting globs of glue on their frontals. So this is specifically for from what I've seen, this is specifically with the younger girls, right? And so if you're significantly younger, did we know when we were younger that we shouldn't have been wetting our hair every day, right? To slick it back and put it in our ponytail? I don't know about you, Tamika. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay. I don't know about you, but here's what I'll say. When I was a teenager, with a relaxer, I was wetting my hair almost every day, putting mounds and mounds of gel on it so much so that you could literally knock on my head and hear how hard the water gel combo was making my hair, right? But was doing it almost every day. As a teenager, a young girl, not only did I not know, not only was I none the wiser, but even if you had told me, I probably wouldn't have cared. Everybody was having their hair slicked back. You know what I mean? And it was like we were in competition to see who could make our eyes more chinky than the next. That's how tight we were doing our ponytails. And again, none the wiser, but also had you told me, I probably still wouldn't have cared and wanted to do it because I wanted to fit in. It was the trend, right? So when we're looking at the younger girls and we're seeing them cause more damage to their hairline, cause more issues for their scalp, clog their pores, we're seeing the breakage on their edges. It's really on us to educate them and let them know that this is not it, right? But also, now might be the time to go and get you a little cosmetology license, because when the girls get a little bit older and they want their edges to grow back in, it's gonna be us that they look to for help. Exactly. They care about the style only. I've had some boss ladies, I mean, I don't see them often, but I've had some, some of my grown clients bring their daughters in, and I'm like, girl, I could tell from a mile away. Okay. I could tell from a mile away that you've you've been wetting your edges every day. And then been curling your edges every day and then going and wetting them to shellac them and lay them down. That don't even make no sense. Don't even make no sense. Why would you take your mini flat iron, take the time out to curl your edges and get to curl your frontal hairs, right? Because as long as it's frontal hair. It ain't even no baby hair no more. So why would you take time out of your day to cut, press, and curl to lay it down with some water? It just, and it's, but that's parenting for you. You know what I'm saying? How would you install your clip-ins without the damage on your natural hair? A couple of ways, right? So my biggest thing for clip-ins is you're not to sleep in them. That's my biggest thing. If you one application for clip-ins, I don't see one application for clip-ins being damaging. I see if I install your clip-ins, right? Usually what I'm doing is I'm teasing the hair, which means that I'm creating some tangle so that this way when I apply the clip-ins, they're not moving. So when I do it, right, I usually instruct my client, when I put them in, when you go to take them out, you take them out, but you're also to detangle your hair to make sure we don't lose any hair, right? But if you're taking them in and taking them out, and putting them in daily, I don't see how that can be damaging unless we're over applying, unless we're over utilizing our clip-ins. So clip-ins are a safe bet, in my professional opinion. I remember in school we used to spray our hair with holding spray and then hot comb it to get hard curls. Yes, Alicia. I also suggest if you're gonna do a full head of clip-ins, I usually, if you're gonna do a full head of clip-ins for like a full look, I suggest braiding your hair down and then clipping the clip-ins over the braids. Yes, but even still, okay, even if you do that, right? Even if you put clip-ins over your braids, you are to take your clip-ins out every day and then reinstall them. What about braiding the hair and then applying the clip-ins? Okay, that's what I said the first time. That's when I was explaining how to do the clip-ins. That is 100% what my suggestion was. Does anybody else do that? Alicia, you do that for your clients? If you're wearing clip-ins, one of the safer ways to do so, excuse me, one of the safer ways to do so, excuse me, is to put the clip-ins on over some braids. I do braid down, yeah. I've done that. I don't do it a lot, but I've done it. Maybe I could count on one hand how many times I've done it, only because it's not a service that I typically offer. You can always tell, Alicia. You can always tell. Alicia says, but I doubt they take them out daily. You can always tell. You can always tell. You can always tell. I can almost always reapply 100% Gloria. I can almost always tell exactly what you've been doing to your hair based on what I'm looking at, based on where the damage lies or what the damage looks like. I can almost always tell what you've been doing to your hair. Right, Marquita? Anytime Marquita isn't doing, sometimes Marquita does really good with her water, but I can always tell when Marquita is not doing good with her water. She hate when her hair tell on her. I can almost always tell exactly what you're doing wrong with your hair based on where your damage is and what the damage looks like. Alicia, why are you laughing? But that's what we got. Those are our 2026 hair trends. The layered bob, side bangs, structured ponytails, disconnected bangs, excuse me, and bejeweled hair accessories, excuse me. They're not taking out the clips like we don't know. If you've been doing this long enough, if you're in tune with your clients well enough, you can almost always tell exactly what they're doing, when they're on their game, when they're not on their game, all of that. Had one of my clients today, was fussing and fighting with her for a while for her to get back on taking some vitamins. She fought with me for a minute, not doing it. She's been consistent with it for the last maybe 4 months. Almost a total 180 her hair is doing now. I can always tell, you know. But that's it. That's what we got for hair trends. Are we ready to talk about this young lady? And how social media is responding to the stylist who suggested that that she canceled her appointment because she wasn't ready for a full-on cut. Can we talk about that? Are we ready? Before I forget. First of all, can I just say, I went through my lesson in under an hour. Y'all want to clap for me? Y'all gonna clap for me? I went through my lesson in under an hour. I did really good today. My face just told on me this week I wasn't drinking water. Alicia, you got your water now? My daughter wants to try. Yes, for highlights. Anytime, Tamika, anytime a client who is like not really ready for color is asking, if that's something that they can do, I almost always suggest clip-ins or just like showing a track or two here or there. Here or there. Thank y'all for my clap. Thank y'all for that. That makes me feel good. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks, because I think in 2 weeks, I don't know. You ain't asked me if I got my water tonight. Gloria, you was on time or you was late to class? Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Gloria, you was on time or you was late to class? Quick, Gloria, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to answer now. Gloria, you was on time or you was late to class? I'll wait. Oh, that's not the point. That's not the point. Oh, Marquita, did I tell you at the beginning of the class to go get your water? Alicia, did I tell you at the beginning of the class to go get your water? Mm. Mm. I didn't ask you because you weren't on time. You know what I mean? Marquita, did I ask you? You know what I'm saying? You know? But we'll try again in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I'll be here again in 2 weeks, same time, 7 o'clock. You know? I actually don't know what class is in 2 weeks. Alicia. Alicia, thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies, we're done. That's it. That's my summary of 2026 hair trends. Who should be doing what? You did, and I finished it. Let's go. Come on, Marquita. Y'all give it up for Marquita. Marquita finished her water. If you finished your water, give it a round of applause. I'll do mine. Here. I'll give my round of applause. If you finished your water, I did mine. All right, no, actually, I didn't finish mine. Hold on. There we go. Hey, boss. You're preparing for warmer weather? Okay, drinking this much water? Class is going to be about drinking water in 2 weeks. What about the lady who was canceled on? Oh, what's your opinion? So here's some context for anyone who didn't see the video or doesn't know. So there was a video that went viral of a stylist who basically told the client that if she hadn't had a trim in 15 years. Oh my gosh, Lou, we did used to use shoestrings as the hair ties. Girl, 'twas a time. 'Twas a time. Hey Dede, there was y'all, my brother just hopped on IG. Happy belated anniversary, Dede. There was a stylist who went viral for telling a client that she was looking to cancel her appointment. The young lady in the chair, this young lady who was the client, hadn't had a trim in 15 years, and the stylist basically said that she needed a big chop, right? The stylist had basically suggested to the client that she needed to big chop. The client was not interested in big chopping, right? Essentially told the stylist that she's not ready for that. And the stylist, I think, respectfully declined to serve the client, right? Or maybe a mushroom was the suggestion. I'm not 100% sure, right? Big chop, mushroom. I consider any long chop, any big chop, any long lengths that you're cutting, if you cut more than 3 or 4 inches, in my mind, that's a big chop, right? The stylist suggested that the client big chop their hair, or maybe not start over, but cut their hair significantly shorter. The client was not ready for that, and the stylist respectfully declined the service. I'm saying that that's what she needs. Maybe, probably. I mean, none of us were in the salon, right? None of us were in the salon, so I actually have no idea what the client, could have gotten away with. But I'll say a couple of things, right? As a professional, not every client is going to be your client. And I'm probably not the right one to ask, because I have 100% told clients in the past that this is not the establishment for you. You're not about to, if you haven't had a trim in 15 years, and I am the kind of stylist that I am looking to get you to your end result, which is healthier hair, hair that moves, hair that is fuller, etc. If I am the kind of stylist that likes to get my clients to that point significantly faster than others, then there isn't any time for us to pussyfoot around and do baby trims after you haven't had a trim for 15 years, because when are you going to be ready, right? And if I don't have the kind of personality to hold your hand and coddle you for however long it takes, then I'm just not the stylist for you. I don't personally think that the way that she said it was rude. I am imagining, I'm hopeful, prayerful. I am hopeful, prayerful that the stylist posted that video with her client's consent. That, and if that's not what happened, that would be my only concern. My only issue with what happened was that she didn't have consent she didn't have the client's consent, to post that video. That's the only thing I said. I don't think that what she said was rude. I don't think that her saying that we won't have service here because it's going to be a waste of our time. What style can you do with hair with a ton of split ends? I feel like clients been watching stylists work for some time to take the initiative to go to their salon. So you should have some expectations of how their services should go. I mean, you should have some expectation on what the personality is, right? Like, because if we're saying that, oh, she was mean or she shouldn't, then, maybe she was just hopeful that it would be different for her. Right? Maybe the stylist, I'm not 100% sure, but maybe the client, wasn't watching the stylist, right? Maybe she just saw that that was the stylist that was closest to her in her area. I'm not 100% sure of all of the details of the story. I will say that, but whether that's the case or not, right? Whether she knew what the stylist was going to say or whether she had been watching the stylist or not, she expected to be served. The stylist didn't feel that she was the best suited, to serve her, and she told her no. I mean, why do people feel entitled? I don't understand why people feel entitled because they are willing to spend their money. I don't understand why people feel like they are entitled to service because they are willing to spend their money. The same way you have a right to refuse to sit in my chair is the same way I have a right to say, I'm not interested in serving you. In her mind, she thought her hair was healthy. Alicia, there's no, my first thought, Alicia, is there's no way on God's green earth that you think that your hair is healthy when you haven't had a trim in over a decade. But, different strokes for different folks. Healthy hair looks different for different people. I'll also say that. Healthy hair looks different for different people. I will 100% say that. I will 100% say that. What you deem as healthy hair might not align with what I deem as healthy hair. And who of us is right? You know what I mean? Your opinion on what your hair looks like and the state of your hair, the health of your hair, that's your opinion. How can I tell you that you're wrong on what your thoughts are? That's your opinion. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting take for you to think that your hair is healthy, not having had a trim in over a decade. I think that's an interesting take. I wouldn't agree, but you're at the end of the day, as a professional, my client's opinion is really the only one that matters. You understand what I'm saying? Clients, I go through this with clients all the time. When clients ask me, do you think my hair is growing? Do you think your hair is growing? Because if you think your hair is growing and I tell you that I disagree, again, your opinion is the only one that matters. I go through that often with clients. Or if I see it growing and they don't see it growing, your opinion is the only one that matters. I just have to prove to you that what I'm seeing is what is actually happening. I've had to prove to many clients, your hair is growing. You're retaining length. I told y'all about Chanel. I told y'all about Chantel. I have a client, the opposite effect. Every time she comes, well, I won't be able to see her anymore since I've moved, but every time we would see each other month over month, I'm like, yo, your hair is growing like weeds. She's like, do you think so? I'm like, she's like, I don't think so. I don't think my hair is doing that. Thank you. I have denied lifting hair or color because the hair was over processed and damaged. She went somewhere else and they did it and it felt. Listen, but see, here's the problem, Tamika, right? There's a difference between healthy hair care professionals and just stylists. And it's really hard for the average woman to be able to decipher who's who. It's hard for the average woman to be able to decipher who is who. But yeah, I mean, I've told clients no plenty of times, and then they go to your point, Tamika, right? They go to a stylist who is going to tell them yes, right? Give them exactly what it is that they asked for in the short term, but in the long term, I'm going to charge you more. Now it's going to cost you more to sit in this chair. Had you listened to me? But that's the price we have to pay. It's not. It's the same when you go to a mechanic. It's the same when we talking about working out, eating healthy, losing weight, and eating whatever it is that you want. It's the same, but it's the same for everybody. Stylists are no different. My nail tech told me to stop doing press-ons. I'm not ready to stop doing press-ons. When I go and sit with her and she gives me a tongue lashing, I'm going to take it because I didn't listen. For sure, damaged hair is not getting any chemicals. I mean, that's your standard, Alicia, as it should be many of our standard, right? It should be all of our standard if we're all professionals. But not all of us are professionals, right? Some of us really care more about a dollar than we do about the health of a client's hair. And I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel sorry for you. If Lou went to Tamika and Tamika told Lou that she can't get her hair colored, but Tamika went to Alicia and Alicia was like, let's color it. Rent is due. I have a mortgage to pay. You know what I'm saying? And Alicia said, sit in his chair. High lift blonde, I got it. I'll do it. If I were Tamika, I would not feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you, Lou. You got to come back in this chair with your tail between your legs. I ain't gonna shame you, but you ain't gonna feel good about it, and you're gonna pay me a hefty price too. You know, it's the cost for not listening. Aren't we all now paying the cost for not listening? Right? Back in October of 2025, 92% of Black women were like, hey, we have something to say, you should listen to us. You know, there's a large population that did not want to listen, and now we're all paying the price for not listening. There is a price to pay when you don't listen. Exactly, Alicia. Now I have to work harder to repair your hair and your confidence. Let's not forget about that piece. Not only do I have to work harder to repair your hair, I also have to work harder to repair your confidence. Let's not forget about that piece. It's the emotional damage that you are now going to burden me with because you didn't listen. You know, it's a hefty price to pay sometimes for not listening. You know what I mean? How many times did God tell you to leave that man alone and you were still laying down? Still rolling around with that man. You know what I mean? You paid the price, didn't you? Yeah. It's a price to pay when you don't listen. We've all paid it at one point or another. I was 14 years old. My mama told me not to relax my hair. I did. And guess what? My homegirl relaxed my hair. My hair was sticking to my scalp. Paid the price. You know what I'm saying? Hey, boss. You know what I mean? It's a price to pay. We all have a price to pay. All right. Do y'all want to know? Well, class is not next week. Class is March 2nd, I think. March 1st, March 2nd. Hold on. Let me see. When they come in with that hat on, you know. Do we want to know March 1st's class topic. I think this one, I don't know what class is about on the 1st of March. Hold on. Oh, March 1st's class is going to be talking about how to switch out your products for spring. That'll be what we talk about our next class. Oh, Alicia, I knew what you meant, but I respect you for correcting yourself. But yes, in 2 weeks we'll be talking about how to switch out your products for spring. This way we are transitioning, and as we transition into warmer months, we are staying on par with maintaining the balance between moisture and protein. We'll talk about how you do that, how you can switch things out. My hope is that you come to that class with your products. Okay. My hope is that you come to that class with the majority of your products that you use on a regular basis, so I can help you sift out what you can keep, what you can use more of as we transition to warmer months, and what you can use less of as we transition into the spring months. That's it. I did do my class. I did do my lesson in under an hour today. I'm very proud of myself. But here's what we'll do. Enjoy your evening. Okay, I'll see you guys in class in 2 weeks. But this week, definitely on Saturday. Definitely on Saturday we're going to be going live. We're just going to do a regular Q&A. But I also would like to do a couple of lives on length retention this week. So I'll see if I can get that in. But definitely I'll be going live, on Saturday, so that we can talk about some length retention tips, if that's what you're looking for, so that this way you can choose to do a layered bob if you'd like, right? And it's not something that you are forced to do. But outside of that, that's it, folks. Okay. If you are not home, get home safe. If you are home, stay safe, and I will see you later.